What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars. It's Savvy Wavy One beside the lovely KOC. How are you?
Exhausted. How are you doing?
Why are you exhausted?
I think in the last 2 weeks I've slept a total of 20 hours, so I'm like in
You're
La La
kidding.
Land. No, when I was in LA and Miami, it was like
Uh-huh.
2 hour nights every night. And then got here and just been like, because I missed a day of work, so I'm so like backlogged. So like I'm like shaking right now. I'm like everything I say doesn't make sense. So this episode could be hilarious or I could make no sense, and you're all just in it for the ride.
Talk about the epitome of a fitness health influencer right there.
Wellness. This is I'm a
Wellness.
guinea pig. I'm showing you what happens when you don't treat yourself with love and care. You'll start
Absolutely.
acting like this.
Is it like it also involve drinking? Because that's also the worst. Because then like you can't sleep if you also have only 2 hours of sleep.
There was 2 nights that were drinking involved and like
And then
late
the
night
other
I
ones are
can't
just
sleep in.
insane?
Well, like it was like we long story short as possible, like we went to Kiki on the River the last night. The girls
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm.
But our reso, if you've never been, they pretty much you book a reso at 9 and they're like, we'll sit you anywhere between 9 and 10:30. But they sent us you're like, you can't be more than 15 minutes late, but we'll only serve you anywhere between half an hour to an hour and a half. So we stood around for an hour and a half of our reso
No.
behind. So it was 10:30, which sounds fine until you remembered that I had a 6 a.m. international flight the next day. So we didn't even get seated till 10:30. The whole time I'm like, I don't care. I couldn't care how good this food is, but it was a fun vibe, but I also had to stay sober. So we didn't leave there till midnight. I had to be at the airport at 3. So I had like an hour
Oh.
power nap. And so it was just like the drinking nights and then that nights. And then like
Mm-hmm.
I flew from LA. First world problems. First world problems. No one wants to hear me complain. But yeah, it was just like a lot of those travel days and that and a few drinking nights. But you know what? We're here. We have
Wow, you're
coffee
here.
and a
There you
positive
go.
attitude.
Did you get your cappuccino?
I've had 3.
I was like, you love a good cappuccino.
Oh, I do. I
Um,
do. How's your weekend been in New York City?
Week's been great. You know, I put on my corporate hat for Michael and I worked a
Oh.
conference for him. He owns a PR
Ooh.
company that helps raise capital for like
Hmm.
startup companies that are trying to fundraise. So it was like a startup convention, like a conference. It was really fun. I got to meet so many cool entrepreneurs and like hear their spiel on like what their innovative new company is, which is awesome, and get to see Michael speak and do what he does best. So that was fun, but it was like he had a couple employees here and then I was helping out, and so it was just go 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 with him without me really working on any of my projects.
Yeah.
So I'm also playing catch up today where I've had 30-minute breaks since, it's honestly not that bad, since like 10 a.m., but it's now 3. So I end at 4:30 and I'm like, I'm going to go for a run and like
Nice.
decompress.
Oh, it's gonna be both of us doing a hot girl run after work together.
Yeah. Also, Michael and I like, okay, my plan ideally for this trip is, for those that don't know, I like literally went from, oh my gosh, where did I go? Washington to Texas to New York. And then I'm in New York for a couple weeks and I go to Barcelona, Spain, which I'm very excited about because I lived back in college. But our plan was like, let's be gone for a couple months and just have a fun long honeymoon, see family, kill all the two birds with one stone. And you know, it's not even, well, actually, it's like almost a full month, and I'm so burnt out that I'm like, oh no. And I told Michael, in the future, we may need to like divvy up this like vacation thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we work still. We want to feel like we live in other places, but like I'm craving my house and I'm
Yes.
craving like not drinking constantly because like in New York, I have to try all the fun drinks.
Of course.
And like I just we don't ever watch any TV, which is like fine, but like I love TV. I love decompressing for at least an hour at night. I don't do that. I haven't done that
Yeah.
in a
You
month.
have no night routine. You have
And
no night routine.
I have no night routine. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can keep doing it. We're supposed to go to Paris after Barcelona, and I was just texting Millie. She's like, when are you coming home? I'm like, honestly, we might come home after Barcelona because I'm like, I'm homesick. I miss my island. I miss my friends. And like, I think it was weird going from a strict 6-week cut. I will never do this again. Well, I will do the cut, but like I did a straight 6-week cut of like, you know, pure motivation, no drinking, like great with my macros and discipline workouts, to like complete degenerate in New York, Washington, Texas. I'm like, oh my God, my body is like, what happened? You're disheveled. So I'm like, okay,
I don't know this world anymore. I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a faker. Like, I think Michael and I said when we get home, I think we're going to take a full quarter off of like drinking. And my plan is to like do more of like a long stunted cut of just like, I just like challenging myself. Not even a cut, just like getting back in to the balance and swing of things and being disciplined. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, this was such a long tangent, but that's how I feel right now. That's how I'm doing.
Sometimes you just need to vent. You know what I mean? Like sometimes like, and men don't really get, they think they want to solve problems. You're like, no, I just want to complain that I haven't slept, that I haven't drank enough water. I just want my routine. I just want my comfortable place. And sometimes it just feels good to vent.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful and like grateful that we get to do this, right? That we work remote. Like I'm so thankful. So that's where I'm like, I really don't complain. It's just in the back of my head. Like he doesn't even know I feel this way other than me just being like, we might have to break this up because like your girl can't hang this long. I'm like, is this called getting old? I don't know. But like, I need some days where it's just like a normal life. So we're working on that. And in Barcelona, that's our plan, is to chill out. New York is just, like that. You have to do it right in New York. It's like fashion week right now. I'm like,
And you're just the FOMO of New York. You know what I mean? You're here. I have to do everything. So like, versus if you're at home, you wouldn't feel that you have to do something every day. And that's the problem about big cities. That happened when I lived in Toronto. It was like, I felt like every night I had to be out and at the right coffee shops. And it takes so long to get like settled into a big city where you don't have FOMO anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just don't have that time.
No.
Because we're only here for a couple weeks. Yeah.
You got to embrace it. The chaos.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you have any hot takes for me this week, man?
Very hot take. Very hot take.
What is it?
The famous Kardashian salad. You know the one? They're always shake, 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 shake. It makes you bloated as fuck.
What do you mean? Where are you getting my salad?
So, no. I got the Kardashian salad. So I was in LA and I was like, you know the one? I did my research and I found the Scala, the exact mixed chicken salad they had. And I went there and ate alone. And this man knew what I was doing. I was like, for sure. And I filmed it. And I was like, so intrigued because like every episode they have it. And it's this chopped salad. And the base, it's like lettuce. They always recommend to put peppers in it. That's add-on added. Peppers, tomatoes. They have chickpeas. There's some kind of cheese, but I hate cheese in salad, so I did avoid it. There's chicken. There's this dressing. And it's all chopped up but layered. And so you get it. They bring you extra dressing. So I added the extra dressing. And you mix it all up. Delicious. A very fresh salad. Okay? Not too hearty on the calories. But it's so much salad. And I was going to eat the whole thing because I was like, I'm here to get the full Kardashian experience. So I ate the whole thing. This thing, I was so hungry 6 hours later, but could not physically eat anything because my stomach was so shoved full of like, it was so much volume of food. But then I was like, I'm still hungry. Like I need more calories or nutrients or something. So there's my hot take. If you want to be bloated as fuck in LA, go eat that Kardashian salad. Like, I mean, it will keep you full, but it wasn't fun. I was not looking cute after that. And I walked around like Beverly Hills after and I was like, cool, I look 6 months pregnant.
Wow. What is the restaurant called? Or the
La Scala? La
Scala.
It's like an Italian restaurant, which is shocking that they're known for the chopped salad, but it was a delicious salad. I would just, if you're going to get it, don't order the entree salad, order like the small size starter salad and get some pasta, like a sane person.
Did you get like the classic bowl that you shake it in?
I wanted to, but I ate it at the restaurant, so I didn't get to shake it. I know. I wanted to, but then I felt like I was like, am I going to order it? And then they sit beside the restaurant and eat it. So I was like, might as well go in there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fascinating though. I've always wondered. For some reason, I thought like maybe they just worked on like they had a sponsorship with them because that salad has been like in there for years, like on the Kardashian, unless it's just different salad places, but I swear the bowl's the same.
Well, they like, I did my research and it was definitely that salad. It just like, even like how the guy was like, I was at an Italian restaurant and he's like, no, this is it. I was like, which is the best salad? He's like, oh, this chopped chicken one is the one we're known for. which is what you're saying, the Kardashians, because no Italian place is known for their salad. Like, they're
Yeah.
known for the pasta. That's why you go to Italian.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild. Whoever owns that
Oh, yeah.
Italian spot is living. Were there a lot of people getting it?
I was eating at a really random time, so not a good. I ate at like 4 p.m. Like, is that lunch or dinner? I don't know.
How
was like-
iconic would it be if they walked in? I mean, they have assistants and assistants.
There's no
that would
way
get it, but
they're
still,
eating in public like that. I know.
You
I was
see Kris
hoping-
Jenner try to pay in $100 bills.
She just, oh my God. I would just love to be within a 1 kilometer radius of Kris Jenner. I would be happy.
Absolutely. I agree.
What's your hot take?
That's fantastic. Okay, my hot take is, so we've never been to a Broadway show like in New York, which is weird because we are always going to New York. And I was like, we are going. My friend Sam always like third wheels with us. And she's like, let's do something fun this weekend. I'm like, Broadway. We're like, let's go Harry Potter because it's the storyline is like Harry Potter's son. And we're like, perfect. We go to it. Honestly, phenomenal film, like not film, live performance because they like their magic. I don't know how they did it. I'm like looking for strings. I don't see it. They're levitating, no strings. It's so confusing. I don't know how they did it. But also note there was no singing in it. And I thought all Broadway was singing and no, it's not. What? So I was expecting
so ignorant.
We were going to go
idea.
to Chicago or Harry Potter. And I was like, well, I kind of want to hear what like the songs would be in Harry Potter. Like, do, 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 do. That wasn't, not there, not once. Obviously, they didn't get the permissions. But no singing. And it would be like songs were starting to play as they transition the scene. And I'm like, here we go. Here we go. Never. And like all of us during intermission, well, Michael and I were like, I thought this was a musical, Sam. And she was like, no, not all Broadway. I'm like, oh, news to me. So it was just a play. But it was super cool. But here's my hot take.
Yes.
And this goes for movies, live performances. You need to ban certain candy that people are allowed to eat during this. Because I am somebody that, like, if I hear something in the back of my head, I get distracted and I can't focus and I'm a squirrel. And let me tell you, we went to intermission and this woman behind me came back and bought a fucking box of Nerds. Do you know how loud Nerds sound? It's like,
true.
Like, for those that don't know, Nerds are like freaking rocks, like little mini sugar rocks that Keltie would love. And
I love Nerds.
It is, I know, it's pure sugar. And it's in a tiny cardboard box. And it's like when you pull it up to eat it from the box, you hear like sand, like loud rocks falling into your mouth. And then you hear her take down the box and you hear the rocks fall back down. And then you hear crunch, 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 crunching on rocks. And
that's
Sam and I are looking at each other like, you gotta be kidding. I like turn back and I'm glaring at this girl like I can't hear them because of your freaking heyday with Nerds. And so that's what is my hot take is like I get enjoy your candy, maybe do it at home because it's so rude when I'm paying so much money on Broadway and you're chomping away or like your alarm's going off or it was so loud. I was like, it made me not want to go to a live show ever again because we had this one lady got mad at my friend Sam because she grabbed drinks like right as it was starting. And I was like, I want to be there for the opening. So she's like, go, I'll grab the drinks. So she's like 2 minutes late. And the girl like hounds her for being late and being like, are you kidding me? Like had to sit up to get her in the seat. And Sam's like, I'm so sorry. The same woman had her alarm go off 3 times.
No.
To where they almost kicked the woman off. Yeah.
Karma.
I know. And then there's a family in front of me. And honestly, they were really cute. There were 2 little boys. These little boys didn't understand Harry Potter. So I was confused. It must have been the parents wanted to go because they kept being like,
definitely.
Who's Malfoy? Like they were like the obvious questions.
Yeah,
and,
I love it.
But
I love it.
They didn't know how to whisper. So they would be like, who's Malfoy? And all of us would hear. And then the older boy started throwing a fit for an entire hour because he wanted to go home because he was tired. Yeah. And literally for an hour, every 2 minutes, I would hear this man, Mom, I want to go. And she'd be like, no. And everyone's like, shh to the little boy. And he like doesn't understand. They're shushing him.
Oh, no.
He finally like gets up himself, leaves by himself. And the mom's like, oh my God. And like runs. And we're all like, thank God the man left. But
perfect.
That's my hot take is people can be really annoying and rude and just be aware. I don't know. Do you think that's
self-aware.
rude to eat nerds?
Here, I have a new etiquette for theaters. Hard candy must be grabbed and sucked on. You can't like, you know what I mean? You can't take hard candy and pour it out of the bag. You have to like reach your hand in and grab it, and then you can suck on it. And then it's fine. There's no, you know what I mean? It's just common sense. Don't crunch.
How are you going to suck on nerds?
You can just let it just will melt in your mouth. Just like, it's like mini hard candies. So that's why I was like, you can't just sit there and like crunch on crunchy things. Like, you know what I mean?
That's true.
I think people just have to be self-aware of the noise they're making. Like
and if you're someone that struggles with concentration, like this is going to be a downfall. I told Michael, I'm like, I loved the performance, but like I could not believe at people's etiquette. And like, I'm like just existing. I'm like, I'm not eating anything. I have a drink, but I'm like barely moving my legs because I'm like, it's so rude. And so then I just like, I want to hear them. The mic wasn't very loud, but even the man next to me was eating milk duds. And so then you hear the milk duds like getting poured out and he's reaching his hand and he can't find them and it's like messing around. And I'm like, I can't handle it.
I will say I'm going to take it back and I'm going to say that's on the Broadway show. I think they need to evaluate because people are going to order what they see. They're not going to think that hard. So you should, the Broadway show should be a bit more mindful of that.
I agree.
Like popcorn, nibs, those kind of things, safe foods.
Yeah. You all know, we know that woman pulled out some nerds from her purse. Like, there's no way they sold nerds.
True.
Like, who would do that in their right mind? I've never thought of it that way. I usually just get like chocolate or gummy bears or something that's quiet for a movie theater. But the nerds was a new level, and I can't. I won't handle you. I won't handle it. I won't handle you. Canceled.
Well, on that note, speaking of entertainment and things can you handle, that brings us to today's episode. Can you handle Beyonce and Taylor Swift's workouts? So I believe you had this idea, Sav, and I was like, this is right up my alley. And I saw a TikTok of this, and I don't know if you saw the one of this guy talking about how Taylor Swift is a professional athlete. And I'm like, it's true. When you look how in shape these women have to be able to dance in heels up and down stairs for 3 hours while belting perfectly pitched music, unbelievable. So I did a little research to find out what they do to be able to handle it, and let's see if we could. We're fitness girlies, and I don't even think we can handle this.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, they're like, they're not just like naturally really, I mean, who knows? I don't know if Taylor Swift's naturally really thin, but you can see in like her tights, like she has like muscles on her. Like this woman knows what she's doing in the gym, or has somebody that knows what they're doing in the gym. Like she's working her ass off. It's not just like, oh, she's just naturally always this thin. It's like, no, this girl is putting in the work, and like she's toned, and she just, it's like back when, remember when Carrie Underwood was really famous for just how toned her legs were?
Oh yeah, which is like she's doing 3-hour shows in heels. That's a great workout. After a night of dancing, after Miami, my calves were so sore after dancing with heels. Like I barely handle that. I'm not performing. I'm not looking cute while I do it. I'm just raving.
Yeah, I'm not changing 20 times.
I know. And singing perfectly. That's the most mind-blowing part, the singing with it all.
Yeah, definitely.
Shall I read off Beyonce's and let's see if you can handle it?
Yeah. Wait, I have a quick question on the singing that you might know because you're a DJ. So I was talking to one of my friends about this. She does not miss a note. Like she nails everything perfectly. But then I will see on TikTok, you can like, they'll leak these recordings from like their earpieces of like what they actually sound like. And like you can hear her like out of breath, like kind of not really hitting all the notes. I almost feel like I should wash my mouth with soap for saying that. But like there's a fault. Like she doesn't sound as amazing as she does in her performances. My friend told me it's because what they can do is it's not auto-tune, but it is something that they put through.
It is auto-tune.
From the mic. It is.
It is auto-tuned. So all concerts nowadays are slightly auto-tuned for like many of reasons. And like I'm 100% pro it. The person's still singing live. It's just you have to give these like people grace, because like Shawn Mendes is a great example. He had to get like had to cancel his surgery, cancel his tour because he lost his voice. Like it's also so hard on these singers to sing perfectly. They're gonna be off pitch because it's like running the 100-meter Olympics every single day. You're not going to get a world record every single day. So that's why like the athletes, it's technically not the same auto tune that you get in a recording studio where I'm in Ableton and I'm actually manually adjusting to make it perfect. Like that's where, but then there's auto tune and then there's just little filters and all that you can do just to make it sound crisp. And also you got to think like those speakers, you have to like, they pick up everything and they're so powerful. So I won't nerd out because nobody cares, but it's a better experience for every single person and you're still getting a live experience. But yeah, there is a little, it's not just exactly how she sounds.
So it's technically Pablo in what is it, Lizzie McGuire, but not as, I mean, obviously the woman can sing I Will Die on a Hill for that, but I just thought it was funny because I was like, oh, why does she sound so different? And then my friend was saying that's like a type of autotune. And then Post Malone actually said, he was on a podcast, I don't remember which one, Joe Rogan, and he was like, oh, thank God for autotune on the stage. And I was like, oh, so he admits it.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize like everybody's autotune, and I think that's because totally. I blamed 2008 when autotune came out. Like who was the one singer, T-Pain, who was like so autotune, so everyone associates autotune with this like you can't sing robot and then suddenly you can sound good. That's actually incredibly hard. You still have to have like a good voice, and then it's just like perfecting it. It's like having a pretty face and putting on a little bit of makeup. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's still the same face. You can only do so much.
You heard it here, folks, and hitting the bars. Yeah. Taylor Swift auto-tunes, but in the best way possible, because I don't blame her. I will never blame my queen.
We don't want to ruin her voice. We don't want her having to get surgery halfway through Eras and then it getting canceled.
Exactly. And she needs to like produce at least 50 more albums in my lifetime. So.
Oh, yeah. Save those vocal cords. Okay. Let's jump into it. I'm going to rapid kind of fire Beyonce's. Pop in anytime if you're interested. So first of all, what is Beyonce known for? Those legs. Like just her thighs are just like, they should be insured. They're perfection. But she practices leg day. These are from, I tried to get only reputable sources. So Elite Daily and Women's Health. There's so many bogus ones on the internet. And I just ignore those because I'm like, you're making that up. You don't know. But she's doing a leg day. Which usually 4 moves: jumping lunges, plie jumps, pelvic lifts, and reverse squats. Stretches at the end of every workout. She loves battle ropes for the cardio, resistance training, so she throws those in a couple times a week. And then this I found interesting. She does quick workouts between shoots and rehearsals. Because like that's also the thing that kind of blows my mind. I'm like, these women have to be at a rehearsal for hours on day. They're doing shoots. They're running around. When do you actually have time to work out? Are they like 2 hours a day? And it seems like Beyonce is less of a 5 a.m. every morning, 3 hours. It's just more, I got 20 minutes in between. We're doing this circuit, 30 minutes in between. So I was like, that's kind of nice to know. It's not so much you have to be in the gym 2 hours every single day. You can like spread it out throughout. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then she does cardio for endurance, boxing, running, and sprints, core and strength training. And then this was the kicker. So she does all a combination of those kind of workouts just to prepare her cardio and strength, let alone the rehearsals. But this is Beyonce's goal. She was quoted saying her goal on tour is to build up enough stamina to be able to do a soul cycle class, then go to a Stairmaster and rehearsals in all one day. So imagine that soul cycle class, like think hour on Stairmaster and then go dance for a couple hours a day. And once she can do that, she's like, I'm in shape for tour. I'm like, that is good for her. What are your thoughts on that?
I wonder if she actually does this. Like, are you telling me Beyonce goes to Soul Cycle?
I have heard that.
But okay, I used to think that these people, because my friend Sam told me Harry Styles was at Tracy Anderson when she was. And then she was like, Sav, he has like a private trainer at Tracy Anderson. Like he doesn't take classes with people. Yeah. So do you think it's just private Soul Cycle?
I bet you she could just rent out, like, you know, there's so many hours in the day, there's no one. I bet you like Beyonce and her team comes in, like it's like private sessions. Because that does happen. Even like Vancouver will do it with like parlor pizza. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, we get our extra parlor night. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's no way Beyonce can just be in a Soul Cycle class.
I was thinking, so I've been taking a lot of Taylor Swift designated Soul Cycle classes where it's like it's so fun. They like battle it out with like, who's better, Midnight's or Reputation? And I'm that dork that goes to every single one.
Love it.
And in my head during Soul Cycle, I'm like, imagine this bit, and it would probably be like on a prank show or whatever, but like Taylor Swift comes in incognito into these like everyone is doing Taylor Swift Beyonce Soul Cycle classes. Yeah. And like they're working out, and like we had this fun instructor, he'd like turn down the music and hear everybody screaming and singing, and like imagine her playing along with us, and then she's actually like singing it. Iconic.
I love it. That reminds me, not to jump to eras, but have you heard of the Taylor Swift strut workout? It's got to have appeared on your For You.
No.
Okay, in researching this, I was like, here, I think you will love this. So it's like 12/3/30 was so yesterday. This is the new one. It's the Taylor Swift strut workout. So it's 45 minutes on the treadmill walking. There's like I think there's a playlist you can get, and every song you increase the tempo, and it's all Taylor Swift songs. So like the first one's like really probably slow. You would know an example, Midnight's, I don't know, Love's, and then it slowly increases to whatever her Red era, Revenge era goes to, and you're blasting through it.
You do not know Taylor Swift.
I don't. I just butchered it. I was just like, name some songs. I do know, but
Love Story as a slow song.
I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, no, that's pretty fast paced.
Yeah, quite. Wait,
but, you know what I meant.
Sidebar on Love Story. Everybody, for my Swifties out there, you should try this new tradition that I started with my friends, and we've all gotten married, all four of us, right? My best friends from childhood. And I'm pretty sure it started at Kayla's, one of our weddings, where Love Story would come on and we would like all lose our minds, and we'd be like all come together and like scream, cry, shout. And then at my wedding, Michael jumped in and started like doing the dance with us, and like, remember, I was low-key like, get out of my face, these are with my girls. But it was cute. So what we did for Megan's wedding was I asked the DJ, I swindled him into playing Love Story because he was a Taylor Swift hater. And I was like, I promise you the crowd will go wild. And he's like, okay. And he plays it, and I find her husband, Keanu, and I like throw him at her, and like he does the same dance Michael did. And so if you're a Swiftie, you should do this at your friends' weddings and just have her and him dance. It's the cutest thing. It's a love story. Baby, just say yes.
It's such a good song too for it. Like it hits so perfectly. I was like, oh. Yeah, it's perfect.
So it's like,
I love it.
I recommend, if you're a Swiftie, do that with your friends, and then they can jump in, and so it's like your girlfriends and then your husband dancing. It's so fun.
Oh, you can't ask for more than that. As someone who paid witness, would recommend. 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
But I love how everybody at my wedding was like, yeah, you were not down to have Michael in there. Like, you were like, this is my song with my girls. And then I was like, okay, it's cute. I'll keep you in here.
It's a reminder that like, oh, we're married, but I'm still for the girls.
Yeah, I'm like, I still will be with my girlfriends.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Back to Beyonce. Sorry, are you a big Beyonce fan?
I'm like, how can you not? But like, also I'm like, I'm not going to call myself a part of the Beehive. Just like, I'm like, I love Taylor Swift songs. There's so many that like raised me. But I'm a bit more of a Swiftie. Dare I say a bit more Swiftie than a bit more Beyonce, but like Beyonce is God. Like if I saw her, I would bow. Like she's amazing. So like I admire them both, but neither of them I'm like gonna go out of my way to go to the concert for. But if someone's like, we're going as a group, I'm like, I'm there. I'm one of those. Totally. But I'm not encouraging people to go. I'm not the first one to bring up.
Okay.
What are you? Where you stand in the Beehive as a Swiftie?
Yeah, I am a psychotic Swiftie, so there's no doubt about that. I'm not the biggest fan of Beyonce. Like, I don't listen to a lot of her music. Mm-hmm. I love her oldies. Those are my favorite. Low-key Destiny Child. So, like, I do like Beyonce, but I don't listen to her as often. But granted, guys, I don't listen to anything else, really, other than Taylor Swift. Like,
it's true.
I love Lanny. Olivia Rodrigo just dropped an album today. I started listening to that. I like her a lot. But she's even awesome. Then, like, I don't have as much time to listen to music anymore. Like, I used to, like, constantly listen to music when I was studying or whatever it was. Yep. Now I listen to a lot of podcasts. So when I do, I kind of just put on music for an hour, like, when I'm working out. And I just don't find myself gravitating towards other people, but I do like Beyonce. I'm like, I always listen to her new albums. I would totally go. Millie's a big Beyonce fan. I would totally go to a concert with her. Have you heard she asked everybody to dress in
Wear silver?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, that's so fun. I like her a lot. It looks
so fun.
I need to educate myself on her music.
I've one gripe with Beyonce. As someone who's a Beyonce fan, can sing every song, love her. I do have one slight little gripe. Should I say it? Get the beehive coming after us? Okay.
Yes.
How did she win Electronic Music Album of the Year? Like it technically, like Drake and Beyonce have both like had a bit more like EDM dancey albums, which I love. Like I listen to them both. Amazing. But it's just like, why you gotta take that from all the struggling nerds at their keyboards? You know what I mean? Like, and so
she's Beyonce.
I know. So it was just kind of like, they're like, it took so long to even get like dance as like a genre at the Emmys. And you know what I mean? No, not the Emmys, at the Grammys. Blonde moment. And
I would think finally, the same. I don't know any.
It's like just a couple of years, there's a dance genre. Beyonce's like, you know what? I haven't won that one. Decide, boom, I'm gonna take it. It's just like, fuck. I just felt for all of my fellow, I can't really call myself fellow DJ. I'm obviously not at that level, but just, you know, I kind of hurt a little bit. I was like, like the idols I look up to don't even stand a chance next to Beyonce. She's just at a whole different level,
and she can, because she's Beyonce. That's what's sad.
I know.
So everyone's
you can't hate it.
No,
you can't hate it. Like that's why Beyonce's Beyonce. But it was little like Skrillex.
Yeah. Do you want to know some insider tea about Beyonce?
Of course I do. That we're
I know
announced
this
to the world on a podcast.
I don't care. YOLO. I've known this for a couple of years. So Michael has an uncle that lives in the Caribbean, and it's his great uncle, so his grandma's brother. And so he's not really with the times, like in the sense of he doesn't know what's trendy or anything like that. And a couple of years back, we went to visit him. He built this house on a really nice resort, like it's called Nevis, when he was 20s or 30s, and he's had this house. So like over time, it's accumulated, and like, you know, now it's like the Four Seasons bought the resort, so it's bougie now. It's still like an old house, but it's like huge. Like it has corridors. So like when Michael and I came to visit him, we were like, free vacation. We had our own corridor of the house that you had to walk out to go to his corridor. So it's this humongous house. And being part of the resort, he like would have this deal with the resort where if he was gone, because he would like be traveling for work, he works with like Stone there in the Caribbean, he'd be like, you can rent out my house to the hotel. So he's telling us this story on how he hated renting out his house. And like he had an owner's closet, he just locked everything up, they use everything else. And we're like, oh, okay, like who's the craziest person that's rented your house? And he said, what's that girl's name?
No.
Oh, and he goes, Beyonce. And we're like, John, Beyonce rented your... Are you telling me I'm sitting in a house that Beyonce breathed in? And he was like, oh, yeah, but you know, she made me not like renting my house. And I'm like, why? It's Beyonce.
Oh.
He said it was because he has like little security camera detectors for his security system, because it's like all these corridors and open doors to like know if something's happening. And she ripped them all out. And naturally, I mean, what do you expect? Yeah. She's Beyonce. She wants her privacy. And so he was just annoyed, but she paid for everything. He's just like an old grandpa that's a little grumpy, right? He didn't even know really who she was. And then he said, you know what's the weirdest thing? Is he said she left everything. She left all of her clothes.
Yeah, because you just could make so much money. Queen.
Yeah.
Like if he took
so she left all her clothes. And I said, where are the clothes, John? Did you keep the clothes? And he goes, no, I donated them.
Oh, my God.
That's Beyonce's clothes. And I'm like, oh, do you understand who she is? And he was like, I mean, I know she's really famous. And he's from the Netherlands. God. Like, he's so clueless. And I'm just like...
Just out of it.
Oh, yeah. And Michael and I are like, oh, my gosh. Like, that man has the funniest stories with that house. He ended up selling the house, but he would have crazy stories of people that would rent it. But it was... Yeah. That's the best, hands down, is he was so mad at these security cameras. And I'm like, this makes sense. Like, obviously she thinks you're recording her. and she paid
so
for it.
Funny.
And he's like, who leaves their clothes? He's very frugal. So he will reuse a pot of coffee for 2 weeks straight. He's like, who leaves their clothes? Like, what? That's so negligent. And like, you're throwing away money. And I'm like, oh, well, she kept something for me.
It's so funny, just like out of context in Beyonce's world. It's like, oh, we don't even have to ask about hiding the cameras. Like Beyonce, of course we're gonna, like, you don't
makes
even
sense.
As soon as and then they're probably like, oh, like all I can think of, say I was Beyonce's assistant, be like, we were just gonna give away the clothes. Let's leave it for the Airbnb. They'll get a kick. You know what I mean? They'd be like a nice little thank you. Like sometimes if you have a full bottle of alcohol, you leave it for the next person because you're like, oh, it's a nice little treat to find. And this guy annoyed. Oh my God.
It's an old grumpy man that's annoyed at everything and donates the clothes.
There's an example of why you can never get too cocky. You got to stay humble. Because sometimes even Beyonce is put back in her shoes that some grumpy old man will still get mad about you leaving your clothes. So no one's safe. Know. Stay humble.
I would have loved to see little old John. He was at our wedding. I would have loved to see him like just harp on her about these things, being like, this is my home, you ripped this, and I'm like, literally no one would do that. They'd be like, can I have an autograph? Amazing. Can I have a picture? Big fan.
love it Well, speaking of love, shall we drop into Taylor Swift's? And as a journalist, because I'm even considering doing this for a video, and so I kind of want to interview you as a Swiftie and get your thoughts on this, because it was tough. So like usually I'm good. I got to research for a lot of YouTube videos. If you're like, Keltie, how does this person, what does she eat for brunch? I'll figure it out. I'm good at this stuff. Taylor Swift is a locked vault. So this is what I was able to find. Okay, I've got to make sure I can read it and you can see my face. So she's been very silent about her workouts. The one I could find, and you're in New York, so I'm like, you got to get in there and tell us what it's like. There's one dance class she does. It's called Body by Simone. And it seems to be a combination, unique fusion of dance, Pilates, functional training, think high-intensity cardio, bodyweight moves, light dumbbell exercises. So it's given Pilates a little bit of jumping around, kind of dancing. Anyways, that is literally the only confirmed workout you can find on the internet. And I went everywhere. So first of all, you're in New York. You got to find this. You got to go there. You might see Taylor Swift one day. So that would be the one.
Again, I don't think she does group workouts.
But the one thing is there's been photos of her outside that gym. So she's been there. So like that's why I was like, that was the one. Usually I don't believe these things because I'm like, she went there once. There's photos proof of her leaving this gym. So I'm like, there's a chance. I'm just saying, if you want to run into Taylor Swift, there's an option. So
I'm not gonna lie. I have done a lot of stalking in my 2 weeks being here. I found where she lives. It's public knowledge, okay, guys? And I drunkenly took a picture of me pretending to hit the call button at her apartment. There's a million cameras.
Of course.
And she owns like a couple buildings. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can hear that, but New York is going wild with honks. Yeah. But one of my friends like knows somebody that lives in her apartment. Like, so she owns this building. Yeah. And so she confirmed which apartment, building it was. And obviously she's on tour. Obviously, I'm not going to donate that crazy. I know. But I just wanted a picture to prove it and send it to my Swiftie friends. And then my friend Sam lives right across from the studio that she films or she records everything. Oh. So she says that, like, paparazzi, everybody will be waiting outside of her, like, across the street from her apartment. So I've done some sleuthing. So I might add that to my list of where I should stalk.
Please. And even just go try the workout and let us know what it's like. Like, we want to know. I'll
pretend I'm Taylor the whole time.
I know. How could you not? Like, you get to live your, like, fake Taylor Swift life for 24 hours. And then, so I got some more questions with you, and plus what I could find. So there's the class. And then also mentioned in one news article, and it was from, like, a reputable source, like Elite Fitness, that she was quoted once saying she runs on the treadmill an hour a day. Now, this is where I was like, this seems a little iffy. I don't know if she was actually running or she was walking, and said she listened to music, and it was like kind of her spot that she would just like blast music and listen. I'm like, I don't take Taylor Swift as a run every day kind of girl. I'd see her be on the treadmill. Like, that's probably great cardio, but I just feel, I don't know. I was like, is that fake news? But it was from the reputable source. See, really? I kind of got the impression that she walks an hour a day, and that's kind of her time with music, get feeling. I was like, I don't think she's running. Like, I couldn't run an hour. But then Taylor Swift, that would be good endurance for her. But like an every day, is she on a 600-day run streak. Like,
Yeah.
like,
She has come out in previous documentaries and articles on how she had like body dysmorphia and eating and everything. So maybe it was back, you know, she's very open about how she was like judged for her body and like she went overboard with it when she was younger. So maybe it had to do with like an article back then.
well, that's interesting because if you saw later in my notes, I kind of touched base on that. And it was like she wrote this article, which is great. And it was like the 30 things she learned when she was 30. And I definitely recommend it. But like the one was just the comparison she felt with her body. And that's why even at first, like you can Google like her diets and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not going down that, or just respect that she was open, that like she opened up about her eating disorder online and just the pressure she felt. So I was like, I'm not going there. It's just, she talks about eating intuitively now. And I think I was like, you know, I kind of respect the secrecy around it when she's like that. Cause like I said, maybe what she was doing back then wasn't healthy. And that's where the hour a day comes from. So if that makes sense. I was like,
also with her platform, she probably doesn't want to tell anybody because then everybody will replicate it and maybe it's not good for them. Right? Like there's always that aspect.
It's a tough line because it's kind of, sometimes it's like, it's nice to know how much work it takes to respect them. But then there's always the tough, like Beyonce has to train that hard to be able to do it. Taylor Swift's probably training that hard. But then some average girl is going to be like, oh, how do I want to work out like her. I'm going to do that. It's like, you don't need to work out that hard. You don't need to be able to do 3-hour concerts. Like it's a waste of your time versus they're making borderline $1 billion to perform like that. Like you don't need to train like an NFL athlete if you're not going to the NFL. Same. So I think I kind of respect it, but I am curious because I also was just like, I want to see what her rehearsals are like, her dances.
I bet you in her documentary it'll come out.
Ooh, true.
Have you heard it's coming out?
Yeah. Have you bought tickets?
October 13th?
Oh, no, that seems appropriate.
Yeah, because I think she's dropping 1989 then too. I could be wrong. But I told Michael, it was like the reason we went to Eras Tour because he was like, you got to go. It looks amazing, right? Yeah. And he's not a big Swiftie. And so I asked him, I'm like, do you want to go see the movie with me? Because we're going to be in Europe. And I don't know if I'm assuming it's going to get shown there. But I'm like, do you want to go? And he was like, yeah, I'd actually love to go. Because he's like, that tour looks amazing. That he's like, I would love to see it. And we're both like hoping that she shows like behind the scenes. I mean, because what is it like being a pop star once you get off the stage? And have you heard like Miley Cyrus recently touched on how she won't do tours because like she gets this like godlike persona, like nobody can touch her because she has like people screaming her name constantly. Like it almost dehumanizes her. And I bet that's so fascinating to get that rush and that dopamine. And then like, I don't know. I'm so interested to see like, what does she do after this? What's your life like?
Not to say like I understand it, but I do live with someone that does that for a living. So it's a weird thing I never realized about athletes or performers. So if you guys didn't know, like Megs plays hockey, and I try not to talk about it enough, but this is just a little inside knowledge of like the adrenaline you have from coming off. Like for singers and athletes, I think those are two things you could never understand. Because singers, it's like they say God complex. People are just like infatuated with you, just screaming your perfection, your everything. And then athletes, it's almost like you go to war. Like these people are screaming, it's so animalistic. You're in this little cage and thousands of people are watching you, chanting your name, and the highs are high, low, and like the adrenaline. Even no matter how hard he works, Megs, we get home, I'm exhausted. You don't get home from a game till like midnight and like I'm pooped, and then he's wide awake, and then like I gotta go to bed. Like I go to bed at 1 after a game with him, and he doesn't crawl into like 3 or 4 because like it's just pure adrenaline. And like they will always have a bad sleep the day after a game because you just can't, like you just literally went to war. Just think of any time you've had your adrenaline spiked, like how much you're racing, and they're doing that every week. And the amount of sleeping pills athletes and performers take, because it's like, you take the sleeping pill or you don't sleep. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, and I'm not saying everyone, there's a lot that don't, but it's just like one of those, people see how hard it is on stage, but no one's talking about how hard it is off stage. And like, and a lot of times it's not like you're hopping and driving home. You're driving to a hotel, you're driving to airport. Not every Beyonce and Taylor Swift obviously have a private jet with a really comfy bed, but not everyone has that. And it's something I never thought about, but that's definitely, I think, so hard on you physically, just touring.
Definitely. But yeah, it would be so cool.
I mean, that's my goal. That's why I'm learning music and try to do it all. I'll never sing, but different world.
We'll do a live podcast one day.
Yes.
And we'll be like, we made it, guys.
We did it.
Yeah, we're like, please, like, let us crowd surf or something. Like, give me the mic.
It.
Let me karaoke Taylor Swift and just feel like a pop star.
I love it. So have you ever seen, because I only was able to find rehearsal footage of one thing from Taylor Swift. I think she was rehearsing for Delicate, that music video. And that was the only thing I've ever seen released. Nothing else. After all these years, she's been a pop star. That was the only video footage of her. I'm like, just scrubbed from the internet. Have you ever seen any footage of her in rehearsal?
I mean, I have in her documentaries, but
I guess, I'll go rewatch those maybe.
Yeah, you could, like, she'll talk a lot more about how, like, she produces a lot of the shows, but yeah, I guess I haven't really. But it'd be wild. It's impressive. Have you heard all of the drama with Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner? Yeah, and how they're all, divorcing. It's very sad. But they were saying, even, I was listening, I think it was a Toast or Giggly Squad was talking about how we most likely just will never actually find out the story because some people are just so private and they're extremely private. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely taking jabs at each other, but like, they're fighting to the death in the tabloids. But it's like so interesting because people are like, oh, everything's scrubbed from the internet. She's so private. And it's like, you kind of have to remember, we don't actually know these people. Not one bit. Not one stinking bit.
Not at all. It's such a weird thing. I don't even know myself most days. I was like, what version of Keltie we get? And let alone people think they know me. I don't know myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I even think with like our platforms, I'm like, I feel like nobody really knows me except for like my friends from like, that really, really take time to just sit down and know my values and my morals and like childhood and things. And I'm thankful for our platform. I love everybody that I meet. When I see them in person, I feel like they're my friends. But it's so interesting. I'm like, we're so small. Like we have, such a niche of what we do. And then there's these people that have this like scrutiny of like, just insane amounts of people with all different backgrounds. I mean, ours, if you think about it, it's like quite like-minded people where theirs is like focused on like acting or singing and like that has nothing to do with what they like to do. So it's just, you really don't know who a person is.
Not at all. And like, it's so, especially at that level of celebrity, like there's a lot more direct with the Z-list celebs. You know what I mean? There's a lot more interaction with like Instagram stories going live. Totally. But like that true A-list is like, they're not posting on their social media. It's like all so curated that like, I think that's also why we're so fascinated. We'll never know them.
Absolutely.
Except you. One day you'll become Taylor Swift's best friend. I have faith.
Oh, I tell Michael this all the time. You mean my new bestie? And I tell him I will be friends. Also, we were at Tao last night and Michael comes up to me and he goes, guess who's here? Like he heard like a bathroom attendant say it or something. And I'm like, who? And he's like, Spider-Man. And I'm like, oh, I'm
Tom
sorry,
Holland?
I'm leaving you today. I love Tom Holland. And I was like, get out. And
he goes, Zendaya there?
He goes, Tobey Maguire. And I said, boo.
Lame. I hate to be like that, but in my mind, I'm like, that means Zendaya's nearby. So freaking out.
He was like, God. I would have literally said goodbye to you if Tom Holland was here. Like, you love him so much. I'm like, I do.
Here's the ring. It was nice knowing you.
Love you. Nice knowing you. But like,
it was a good run. It was a good
There's
few
a reason.
Months.
There's a reason he's here. Fight Zendaya. Could you imagine?
Oh, I love. But speaking of things I love, shall we finish off the episode with our favorite segment, Confession Session?
Yes. Where you submit your most unhinged moments on our Instagram.
And we got some good ones this week. And so even so much that they carried over to next week. So if you want to be if you ever have any, just slide in our DMs, get something off your chest. But do you want me to start off first?
Yeah, you do it.
And we'll keep you anonymous unless you ask not to be. This was a gym confession session. 3 girls came in Daisy Dukes and started practicing a dancing routine while I was yogaing. Say that. Yogaing. Just imagine, like, Daisy Dukes in a gym. That's chafing, right?
They're trying to be Jessica Simpson in the early 2000s.
I mean, I hope they were part of a dance squad because you could just wear spandex shorts. You know what I mean?
It seems like
why
very
Daisy
painful.
Dukes?
And your hoo-ha is definitely out.
I feel that's a yeast infection waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
That's all I can think. You're not supposed to watch denim that much, and it's just bending over.
I agree. Okay, mine is, this one's funny. Took home a white cat that looked identical to my cat from the bar.
I have so many questions.
Can you
Why
please...
was there cats at the bars?
Yeah, can you please actually submit a full message to us explaining the situation and how you returned the white cat into our DMs so we can share it on the next podcast? Because why did you have your cat at the bar and then you lost your cat?
Here's what I'm visualizing. She's at a bar. It's like a patio outside. She's 10 out of 10 blackout. And this little cat walks by and she just sees white cat. She's like, oh my God, it's Bella. Bella followed me to the bar, and just grabs it, heads home. Be like, guys, I got to go. Bella followed us to the bar, and gets home and is like, this isn't Bella. Bella's here.
Totally.
Doesn't know whose cat's it. That's what I'm visualizing.
Absolutely.
And I love it. Assuming you find the cat.
Yeah. So write in, please.
Yes. Okay, I got another one. TMI. But was dancing with a boy, grabbed his margarita out of his hand, and threw up in it. He didn't notice.
Oh my gosh.
If it makes you feel better, girly, I did that once, but to a man's phone. So you know what? We've all been there.
To a phone? Did he notice?
Yeah, he asked for my number, and I spelled my name wrong, put in the number, threw up on the phone, gave it back to him. I've been told I did this. He did. I got a text in the morning, and he was like, is this Keltor? I was like, what the hell? Who are you? And he's like, blank, blank, blank. We met at the bar yesterday, and you put your name as Keltor and then threw up on my phone. I'm like, and you're texting me back?
The man is dedicated or desperate.
Or psychotic. You know what? Mm-hmm. We'll tell that story another time.
That's great. Well, you did tell the story now, so.
Yeah, true.
Okay, this one... sex and storage. LOL. Not proud, but it happened okay. Is this in a storage unit, do you think?
At work. This was an at work one. So she obviously went in the storage at work.
Spicy.
Oh my God.
I kind of love it.
Well done. You know what? That's the start of a romance novel. I was like,
it's the start of a rom-com.
Yeah. The fact you didn't get caught. So everyone, all consenting adults, no one at work was disturbed. You know what? Keep it spicy. I'm for it. Yeah. I like it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That would be so nerve-wracking.
Oh my God. But that's probably why they did it. Like, that's part of the fun. The nerves. You know what I mean? The adrenaline. Yeah. Are we going to get caught? That's why you do it. You don't do it because it's practical.
That's a good point. Well, I thought maybe they don't have time. Maybe they're trying to squeeze it in.
I guess. But, if you're being practical, you wait till after work. If you're just,
You're waiting for a bed.
You just catch each other's eyes at the opposite side of the office. You just can't hold your human emotions any longer.
There you go. Keltie's narrating a smut book as we speak.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to stop it before we actually go full smut.
Sounds great. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hitting the Bars. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We actually have one. And leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Bye-bye.
Bye.